One thing I don't miss about end of days is having to get up early for work, but my body seems to still be on that regimen. We got quite a haul yesterday, but I don't quite have enough space storage-wise for as much of this as I'd like. I really gotta work harder on that compound if I'm gonna move in there anytime soon, but it's still tough going. Still got a lot of work to do. I also want to clear out that school. It serves as kind of a natural barrier between me and everything else. And if it becomes overrun and I'm not aware of it, that could be a serious issue. So all them dogs are howling. Not werewolves, it's zombies. Are they zombies though? I'm yet to see one come back from the dead. Which I think kind of... Is that a necessary part of being a zombie? I don't know. I was never big on them science fiction stuffs before all this. I'm certainly not now. I guess the question is, doesn't really matter either way. The things that walk that shouldn't be. And whether or not that makes them zombies or just monsters, it's... The semantics don't really seem prudent. Either way, they got the world in enough of a tizzy that I'm out here robbing a convenience store, so... Whatever they are, they've done what one would expect zombies to do to society. Mess it right up. They've done messed it right up. I don't know why I keep checking the mailbox. There's no mailman out here walking. I mean, they're walking, they ain't alive though. I guess that is what makes them zombies then. They are dead, but walking. Or I guess they're... Are they dead? Or are they just so sickly and decaying they appear dead? And again, does the difference matter? I'm not so sure it matters, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm mighty curious. Mighty curious indeed. Almost makes me want to find, like, some of them old movies and watch them. If there's ever a time to do new things, it's the end of the world, I guess. Yeah, you're on. Alright. I'll carry some corn dogs on me for some walking food. It's mighty foggy out. You know, one I did I didn't watch, I did read. I read this book by Stephen King, The Mist. It's about a little town that gets all messed up with monsters from some kind of government thing. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe I ain't living in no Night of the Living Dead. Maybe I'm living in the Mist. But the Mist, instead of bringing monsters itself, it instead just kind of brought sickness into the midst. Huh. Well, there is a thought. Though that movie was, not movie, that book was more about like, oh, what was that? That racist old book writer guy, Lovecraft. It was almost more Lovecraftian horrors, if I do recall correctly. Rather than, I don't believe that book had zombies in it. But again, I'm still not entirely sure these fit the definition of zombie. Because I think that one of the accepted prerequisites is zombies gotta be dead. And while they're not alive, are they dead? I do not know. I do not know. I never asked. I've not asked one. And the data I was able to examine when I was working with the government was not conclusive in any sort of way that would make me believe I was dealing with reanimated corpses necessarily. I mean, not impossible from the data I saw. The rapid necrosis and stuff. It's theoretically possible. I just don't really I don't see it. In my day-to-day encounters with these infected, I haven't really seen a lot of them telltale signs I would personally associate with these creatures being dead. For one, I might not have seen Night of the Living Dead, but I know the ghouls in that their picture, you gotta hit them in the head to kill them. And that is not the case with these creatures. They go down with enough bodily damage like any old person. Perhaps it could explain why they seem to be unperturbed by pain or the elements, is that they no longer have functioning nervous systems. But that same rationale would work if they were alive too. And just whatever this is has taken grasp over that central nervous system in such a way that is no longer effective. I wish that arcade cabinet worked. I don't know. Again, I think you could make the argument. I'd have to examine one to really be sure, and I really don't want to examine one. Obviously, from taking a look at like a corpse like that one, I wouldn't be able to know one way or another if they were undead or not, because they're dead now, you know, it would require examination of a still moving specimen that I could take a look at. And that was not something I had access to in the lab. I had access to samples under a microscope. we were not out there dragging in, you know, dead bodies off the streets. We were examining things in a very controlled environment. And I'm very grateful we were doing so in a controlled environment. However, it does mean that I am still left with some questions for which I will not be able to find answers easily. I suppose I could keep my... Maybe the news might find out with that with time, but I'm also not entirely sure I would just take their word for it. Because if they are alive, but they want people to kill them, then it would be a logical choice for them to tell us that they're dead. It would lessen the grief and the moral inquiry of killing one of these individuals if they're all just dead. If the dead have risen and this illness kills you and makes you dead and then revives you, that's a whole lot easier to make the people on side with killing them. Because you can't cure the dead. But if they're alive and they tell us they're dead and we kill them, that means they can't be cured. They can't be saved. Which also means the government don't have to worry about trying to figure out no antidote if we take their word for it that they're dead. It is quite a conundrum. Because there is no winning situation for us. Because if they're alive, if they're dead, either way, we'll never know for sure. Without obviously someone figuring it out with study. I just don't think I am fit for that job. It does not feel like my calling at this moment. I am no longer the biologist I was. Whether or not it's a good or a bad thing that I am no longer that person remains to be seen. Though I need a rest from all this walking I've been doing to and from their convenience store. Alright. I really should stop going out in and out the front door. I know better. I'd know better. Got some tainted water for next time I need some. I think I've taken enough from the store for now. I think it's about time I gave the school a once-over. A proper clear out. If it's going to be my natural barrier between me and the dead, I want to make sure there's as few dead in it as possible. I left a bag of rice in my bag. I heard that. Oh, we were trying to get out that way. Well, that's not going to happen now, is it? Sorry about that, kid. Too young to have to go out like that. Places I did not want to come to would definitely include a school. I don't know, just something about it is, it's bleaker that the young weren't spared for this tragedy. It's rare for any sort of tragedy to pass over a generation, but if there was ever one that the young didn't deserve to experience, it's something like this. Something that their world will bounce back from. And there's not no biblical exodus. There's no blood over the partition that could spare them the consequences of this illness. And that's a darn shame. It's not their fault. And there's nothing they could have done to stop it or prevent it. It was entirely out of their hands. Especially for the young. I sincerely hope I never have to kill a young infected. Because it's an extra not their fault. No kid could ever survive in this world long. I don't know when I'll be able to move this water cooler, if I'll be able to move this water cooler, so I'm gonna fill up while I'm here and keep searching. Thought that was a light switch. It's a sports rink. Oh. There we go. That's a lot of cars. Surprising amount of cars, actually. Does confirm that this was likely a high school. I'm personally not familiar with it, so. I was operating purely in theory in that regard. I do not like this. Alright, it's clear. The other problem is, just because I clear it out now, oh my, does not mean it will stay say forever. This is some pretty high grade protective equipment. Might be worth, I guess, wearing a hockey helmet. No, it's actually about the same. I'll take one for an extra. If I were more fond of the bats, I'd be more happy about the bats, but I found I prefer my weapons long and pokey. Appear to be full. Yeah, my bag's pretty filled up. Yeah, a return trip will be required. What was that bang? A lot of meat still here in the fridge. Is this door? No. Okay. Part of the reason we're building where we are is because of the water. For when food eventually runs out. But one, I'm starting to wonder if I'll run out of food, because there seems to be plenty. But also, I'm starting to wonder if maybe this is a better plan. Just revamp this old place out. There's so much here, it seems like just taking the occasional trip up to the lake for food ain't too bad. Ain't too bad at all. Might be a little bleak living in a school, but I think it's something I should consider. This is a very large compound with a lot of supplies in it. Not a lot of dead end. Turn the schoolyard into a farm, if I can keep finding growing stuff. Feels much easier to fortify. Has a second floor. I think we found what we do. It's got power, it's got running water. Am I gonna move into the school? I just might. I want to find an access door to the roof. That'll kind of give me the best way to know for sure if I feel like this is a good place to hold up. Because it seems real good in theory, but I kind of want to be a bit more certain. Especially since we've already started building where we were going to build. I could just take trips out to go fishing occasionally. I don't have to live at the waterfront to do that. Oh, this is a real sad room. This was, in fact, not a high school. Oh, Lord. That's grim. That is real grim. I guess that's one thing I gotta consider, is living here would most assuredly take a toll on my mental health over time. But is that mental health toll worth just how strong this place is? It's big. Bigger than I need. But I don't believe it would be hard to fortify. I still have not found a roof access. Roof access would be very important. Yeah, this... I hear bangs. Is it downstairs? It's gotta be. Let me look out the window. It's too dark. I guess we found one problem with this place. You can hear the bangs, can't see the problem. I also would have to find out some way to turn on the hallway lights. Problem identified. Deep breaths. Another key. Probably to another car outside. That one wasn't a student or teacher. That was one that got in. Let's clean up this break. I think... let's repair that. I do reckon that this is probably a good idea. Converting the school. It's already partially fenced. Extend the walls wouldn't be too hard. We got plenty of land to grow something. That fix did not last long. We'll make a new one. Hello. Do you have what I expect you'd have in your trunk? No. Oh, this is animal control. Okay, that actually makes total sense. Gonna let it come over the fence. Were you a comedian before you got infected? That was funny as hell. It's animal control. Well, likely you got your keys in the ignition. Low, but you got something. Shotgun shells. That was what I was expecting. Flashlight. Also something I would have expected, and I'm happy to see. No key. If I can somehow get a fence up there, a fence? No, a rope up there. I think this school's perfect. It's much better than building something new myself from scratch. What's with all the stakes? They're not werewolves, they're vampires. Let's head back. It's strange, I thought I was coming here to the school to clear it out, to use it as like a glorified wall, but here I am with a new plan. A new plan on a new place to live, a new lease on life. Maybe not a new lease on life. I'm a little depressed from all the sights I done seen, but I'm feeling more hopeful. I wanted a project, turning that empty school into my own Fort Knox is that project. And we'll still vamp up the fishing hut to be, you know, a place to come gather food when I'm low on it. That sort of thing, but I think it's the right thing. So I think tomorrow we start moving in.
Hello, what's happening? It's that man in black and green. Sometimes sweet and saccharine. Sometimes he be as mad as me. Insanity, persistently